Change, a different direction, a path not worn. After 20 years of success, a difficult notion, yet sometimes practicality demands this exact feat. And so, after 2 decades of Saturday nights, education, friendship, and honors, Alan Johnson left his beloved Canandaigua to test his future across the border at Merrittville. The legendary 14J still held its magic as AJ vanquished all comers in the small block arena once again. Today, he stands almost at the pinnacle of his world with but one peak yet to climb. Base camp has been made. The assault is about to begin. It's the CarQuest 150, and it's live on Rush Hour. Now, the adventure continues. Rush Hour on DIRT. We are live 1 hour north of New York City on the hard clay Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York for the CarQuest 150. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Welcome to Eastern States Weekend on Rush Hour. 2 weeks ago, we were in Syracuse for Super Dirt Week. This weekend, hundreds of race drivers have brought their cars, their crews, and their legions of ardent fans here to Orange County Fair Speedway for the final 2 championship races of the dirt season. Joining me is DIRT Motorsports racing analyst Gary Montgomery. And Gary, the history and tradition of Super Dirt Week has been well documented, but Eastern States Weekend has been around a full decade longer.
That's right, Doug. This is the 37th annual weekend of the Eastern States 200. Today's race, the 23rd annual edition of this support race. 320 modifieds, then 358 modifieds, always a support race with features drivers that'll compete here tomorrow as well. Brett Hearn won the inaugural race back in 1977. Since then, he's won 5 others. Doug HOFFMAN has won the race 4 times. Danny Johnson 3 times. Last year's champion, Kenny TREMONT, has won it a couple of times. So it features a big name Sunday drivers, but they're all here for a Saturday afternoon race.
Now, Gary, much like Syracuse, we will be talking about pit strategy here today.
That's right, Doug, and today perhaps even more important is a strategy than at Syracuse. A mandatory stop is necessary. That's what the rule says, but it doesn't say you have to do anything. They can just stop their car, don't have to take on gas or tires or anything. Last year, Brett Hearn gambled, decided to go the distance without gas. It fell short by 2 laps, so I think everybody will probably take on gas. The track conditions, of course, different today than last year. They may try to take on tires as well. We'll see how that all plays out here later today.
Generally, this final weekend of racing, we also decide points championships. But for the 358s, it's already been decided. Won by a veteran who experienced a new beginning in 1998. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
Interesting connection here, guys. You're standing in the drive-in right now, and AJ Slideway's Alan Johnson, just by starting this race, will drive into his 2nd straight Mr. Dirt 358 Modified Championship. Alan, just starting this race today, earns you the Mr. Dirt title for the 2nd year for the 358s. This is getting to become a bit of a habit.
Yeah, you know, Mark, shut up. I'm doing a TV interview. Yeah, you know, the car's running real good. I didn't really hear your question, but, you know, we have the points ramped up for the start in this race, and it takes some of the pressure off, and we're just looking forward to having a good race here.
Now, this partnership with you and Mike Maroney with this race car has been absolutely killer the past couple of years. How did this whole thing get started?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Wondering how this whole thing got started with you and Mike Maroney teaming up and you leaving Canandaigua to come to Merrittville to run every week.
Well, you know, I've run with Mike for a long time. I used to run the big blocks with him, and it come to happen where I didn't have a car to drive for Saturday night for our local track in Canandaigua. So we just got together and decided to get our track points for small block on a Saturday night up there at Merrittville.
I'm sure Alan probably misses competing at the Land of Legends. He's got his work cut out for him today. He's starting 26 in the field. He's got a ways to go if he wants to win this final 358 race of the year, guys.
And the Jerry's left, starting in the 13th position.
Test, Gary.
He's got the championship locked up, but they pay the top 12, and inside of those 12 positions, you'll see that there are a number of point separations that are just a handful. So it's still very much to be sorted out. Danny O'Brien riding 6th right now. He's a former champion of the Mr. 358 chase.
And, of course, you see in 3rd place the name of Brett Hearn. If you're looking for a name that is synonymous with winning here at Orange County Fair Speedway, it is indeed Brett Hearn. 19 track championships, 6 in these small blocks, 224 feature wins here. He's someone special, and he's standing by with Cowboy Paul Small.
So special, in fact, guys, that he has won a race here at Orange County every year for the past 20 years. But coming into today's event, Brett Hearn, you haven't run a race here in Middletown this year. There's a potential streak that could be interrupted. Is the pressure on today?
We haven't given it a whole lot of thought, but the AutoZone car has been so good the last few weeks at all these short tracks. I mean, I can't imagine us not being a contender if we're there at the end. And, you know, I mean, it's going to be a tough race, and it's a long race. And we've had things happen to us in the past, but I'm not worried about that streak. I'd like to get my 500th win today.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, you got a step closer last weekend to Fonda. It was a sweep for your small block and big block. I'm sure that was a nice recovery after the disappointment of Syracuse this year.
It took a little bit of the edge off it. You know, we didn't quite do as well as we wanted to. We lost the stole big block points. We were disappointed with that, but we bounced back in both the Bud team and the AutoZone team. They pulled everything together for last weekend, and we had a good weekend, and I hope we can do the same today.
Now, Brett Hearn wins today, and he wins in the big block event tomorrow, guys. I'd say he's probably going to get a pair of Levi's 501 jeans as a celebratory gift for those 501 wins that he could attain.
Along with the winner's share of the purse, Brett Hearn would be mighty happy to be wearing those jeans.
Yeah, he might have to buy them, but we'll somehow come up with number 501 Levi.
That's one of the storylines we'll be following. Brett Hearn going after career feature win number 500. We are live at Orange County Fair Speedway on the hard clay. And our coverage of the CarQuest 150 will continue on rush hour after this timeout.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by Hoosier Racing Tires, Sunoco A+ Mini Markets, and by CarQuest Auto Parts. Welcome to the pros, CarQuest.
We are live in the lower Catskills on the hard clay, Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York for the CarQuest 150, all part of Eastern States weekend here on Rush Hour. Well, for more than a decade, he has been known as Mr. Small Block. Pete Bicknell continues to have championship runs as he moves along in his illustrious career. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
Unfortunately, Pete Bicknell's last trip here to Orange County probably wasn't a good memory. The 358 Skull Race here in June, the contact with you and Doug Hoffman, but I think you might have made up for that a couple of weeks ago at Syracuse, Pete.
Yeah, unfortunately that race at the beginning of the year, we were super fast. We come from 10th spot, which today we're starting 12th, so we're in pretty well the same position. But the car was real fast. Just one of those unfortunate moves. I got under Doug on going into turn 3, and he tried to crowd me a little bit, and it was sort of side by side, and he actually ran in a little bit harder. When he saw me beside him, he stepped back on the throttle and spun himself out, and I got blamed for it and went tail, so that wasn't very good. But Syracuse was a great run for us. We made our pit stop a little later than everybody. We got behind everybody, and we had to come back by them. We had to pass everybody in the top, and it worked good. The last restart, I just got by Kenny Tremont for the win. It was a great race for us.
Today, you're in kind of a sandwich here because you got Brett on one side of you and Danny right around you. My question is, can you get out of the filling here in this case?
Well, I think so. You know, this Bicknell chassis and this Enders Ford is really fast today. We won our heat going away with it, and we had some of the fastest times of the day. So I think we got a good shot at this. The track's in the kind of condition that I need it in. The tires are hooking up real hard, so I think we got a good shot at it.
Mr. Smallblock is full of confidence today, guys.
I think he normally gets behind the wheel with a lot of confidence, doesn't he?
He does, and he got a little plug in there for his business, Bicknell Racing Enterprises. He's one of the few guys that drives a car that he builds himself. That's the case for our Mr. Small Block champion from Syracuse, Pete Bicknell.
Let's take a look at our internet question. And the question today, since the race was added to the Eastern States weekend in '77, which driver has won the most CarQuest 150 championships?
Well, if they were listening, we already gave them the answer. I didn't know that was the question, but we gave away the answer earlier.
You were given a clue earlier. Now just jog your memory bank. Well, last couple weeks ago at Syracuse, and now again today, we talk about a little bit of a changing of the guard in the DIRT Motorsports. And, you know, here at Orange County Fair Speedway for years, we've talked about the Brett Hearns and the Danny Johnsons. Well, The track champion at Orange County Fair Speedway in the 358s is a young man from Sheffield, Massachusetts. He drives the number 57. He's Andy BACHETTI, and he's standing by with Cowboy Paul Small.
And what a breakthrough year it has been for Andy BACHETTI. Not only the track champion, but the pole sitter for today's CarQuest 150. Andy, what happened this year to make this such a special year for you with the winning of the track championship?
I'll tell you, we put together a new program with a bunch of new guys, and they're a great bunch of guys. It's a family-run deal, and I'll tell you, we're just going to try to get this thing to the front and hopefully can stay there.
A win in today's race would definitely be the icing on the cake, Andy. Do you have the stuff to hold these guys behind you?
I think we got the smoke in this car. Hopefully we just we hit the setup today, and like I say, this steel car, this ANC performance motor, I'll tell you, everything works, everything jives. Hopefully we can show them what it's all about.
Now, a lot of people focus on pit stop strategy in this race. What about getting through lap traffic?
Well, hopefully we can get into lap traffic. I hope to get into it early and basically get in pit and get back out, you know. That's kind of our strategy for the day.
Andy BACHETTI with his black helmet on. He certainly looks like he's got his game face on for today, guys.
Can't tell if he's got his game face on or not, Doug, but I can tell you behind that helmet, he's a handsome young man, fresh, young, enthusiastic, excitable, and talented, very talented. This may be the spark plug that the DIRT Motorsports organization needs. Perhaps, maybe we'll find out here. He's had a great breakthrough year, champion here with three races that he's won. This is maybe what Jeff Gordon has been to Winston Cup, or what Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth are to Busch, maybe even Adam Petty to ARCA and ASA. So we got a young lion here, Andy BACHETTI, though we call him the Wild Child, starting on the pole here this afternoon.
And with his visor down, he may remain a bit of a mystery man to our viewers. That is until Victory Lane. Our coverage of the CarQuest 150 will continue from Eastern States Weekend, live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back in the lower Catskills. Orange County Fair Speedway, Middletown, New York. The CarQuest Eastern States 150 on Rush Hour. We have an absolutely beautiful day for racing, and you see the starting grid right there. Let's take a look at our race analysis. The CarQuest 150, 150 laps. Mandatory pit stop after lap 30. The purse, $24,000 plus. The winner's share, nearly $8,000. As for the weather, it is absolutely ideal. You don't normally see folks waiting in line to get milkshakes. That's been the case here today. Temperature 72 degrees, absolutely no chance of rain. As for our track description, Gary?
Well, this track was built in the mid-1800s, believe it or not. The first auto race was run here in 1919. It's a 5/8 mile clay oval, hard clay. It is almost like blacktop. The straightaways are 660 feet long. There's a little bit of banking, 2 degrees in 1 and 2, 5 and 3 and 4, essentially a flat track.
They say the track condition is much different than it was yesterday. Let's go down for the update from Cowboy Paul Small.
And indeed it is, Doug. Yesterday, with the hot sunshine coming down on this racetrack and the increase in the track temperatures, it broke up. It was very dusty. But thanks to a little miracle work by the preparation crew, we're back to what we normally know Orange County as being, the definitive hard clay racetrack in New York State. Now, the surface is almost like asphalt. There's a lot of rubber built up on it. And as that rubber continues to build up, the track may get faster as the day progresses. Dr. J, Danny Johnson, starting a little further back in the field. This is your kind of racetrack today.
I tell you, we got the Troyer guys got the car working really well for me on this track. The only thing that is that we switched to an extra hard tire from the hard tire qualifying, so we're a little green with the extra hard tire, but hopefully, you know, the FX Compare car here will get us here in Victory Lane, and Manheim Auctions and CarQuest Camera will be able to show you a good ride.
And there's a very good possibility that you and a guy named Brett might wind up duking it out for the win here. We've seen that many times.
Well, like I say, maybe we'll get some good shots.
All right, Danny Johnson is hoping that you'll see the checkered flag from his shot when he brings this FX1 down into Victory Lane. We're going to segue over this way here to Rich Pillai, who is from CarQuest Auto Parts. And Rich will have the famous words to get the Eastern States Weekend, as well as today's CarQuest 150 underway.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The engines roar to life here as we get set to wave the green flag and go racing for the CarQuest 150 Eastern States Weekend here in Middletown, New York. And as the field pulls away, led by the official pace car of the Skoll Series, sponsored by Bombard Chevrolet, located in Skaneateles. Bombard Chevy, not an automall, just a dealership in the country. Let's take a look at the starting grid as there finally we have a chance to see that beautiful pace car. On row 1, the 57 of Andy BACHETTI, Orange County Fair Speedway track champion for the 358s. And outside row 1, the 26 of Dave Camara.
Second row on the inside will be Bobby Varon, the young driver out of Sharon Springs. He was on the pole at Syracuse a couple of weeks ago. Dancing partner is Todd Burley from Spencerport in the Y2K year 2000 car.
On to row 3, the M1 of Jimmy Horton and the number 6 of Pat O'Brien.
Fourth row starters include four-time CarQuest 150 winner Doug Hoffman out of Middletown, Pennsylvania, today driving Lincoln Auto Body number 5. And a real surprise, Earl Powless out of Untitled Pennsylvania qualifies and starts in the number 8 spot.
Row 5, the defending champion of this race, the 21 of Kenny Tremont and the 28 of Mike Rickey.
Sixth row, you just heard from him, Daring Dan, the stock car man, Danny Johnson and Pete Bicknell on the outside of row 6.
He's a 6-time winner starting inside row 7. Brent, the corporate Jet Hearn, and the 47H of Jerry Higbee.
In the 8th row, a guy who won on television when we were here for the Skoll Show, Chuck McKee. Mike Perotti out of Morrisonville is in position 16 at the start.
Row 9 is Rick Hill and the 99 of Tim Fuller.
Tim Hinley from Monticello, New York, sits inside of row number 10. Alongside is Brian Masden from Spencertown, New York.
On to row 11, Gary Tompkins in the 77X. First full year on the dirt circuit, Dale Plank.
12th row on the inside, the 77 of Rick Mill. He's out of New Windsor, New York. And Todd Stone from Middlebury, Vermont, starts in position number 24.
Rick Laubach drives number 20 in row 13 in the 14J. Never won an Eastern States race, Alan Johnson.
14th row on the inside, out of New Jersey, is Joe Morel in car number 11. Bobby Hayes Jr. from Valley Cottage, New York, a regular here, car number 4, starts in position number 28.
To row 15, it's Gary Edwards Jr. and the 33 of Jeff Hetzler, 2 wins in this race.
The 16th row on the inside out of Mount Cobb, Pennsylvania, comes Brian Davis. He's in car number 4P. Donnie Elliott from right here in Middletown in 49 starts in position 32.
As the pace car leads the field down pit road, so they can be a bit more familiar with exactly where their pits will be located and how quickly they come up on them. Row 17, Butch Tittle and Tim Burnett.
Hinley, another of the Hinley brothers, this time out of Fair Oaks, New York, in car number 17H, is on the inside of the 18th row. And Lee Nismick in car number 40 starts on the outside.
And then we go to row 19, Lauren Holland Jr. and Mike Senna.
A couple of Orange County regulars share row number 20. Steve Dodd is in car number 6M, and Randy Sherlock driving car number 97X this afternoon.
And rounding out the field, out of the great French-speaking province of Quebec, Pierre Dajanet in the number 124. Our field for the CarQuest 150. Final thoughts before we go green, and a look at the in-car cameras that the shots will be bringing you throughout this. First in the Brett Hearn machine, and then also a CarQuest camera in Danny Johnson's car.
Here we look over the shoulder of Brett Hearn. We'll see how he works at the Auto Palace car number 20 this afternoon. 6-time champion in this race.
And there's the CarQuest cam in Danny Johnson's machine as we are 1 lap away from going green.
40 cars to take the green. Doug, 88 cars took time here yesterday, then a series of qualifying races today, establishing the field. Some guaranteed starters made it in. That's why we have the rather odd number of 41.
Well, it's absolutely electrifying. And look at the huge throng on hand for our CarQuest 150.
We should probably back up and establish once again, these are the small block cars. They used to race this race, call them sportsman cars. Then they called them 320 modifieds. Now they're 358 modifieds, but always small blocks. Primarily Chevrolets, but we've got some Fords in the field. We saw a Ford win, beat Bicknell, won at Syracuse a couple of weeks ago.
Kenny Marshall and Dave Farney, the flaggers, the starters for this race. Field into turn 3. Now into turn 4, Andy BACHETTI driving the number 57 will look to fire out of turn 4. And the green flag is out as the field comes down the front straightaway. The CarQuest 150 is on, second place, and he gets the job done.
Barrett in the Dover brake car. That's a Troyer car. Takes over the number 2 spot. Jimmy Horton makes a bonsai move on the inside. There you see the black M1. Horton, he comes up to the number 3 spot. So Horton making a bonsai move on the start as they now work off into turns number 3 and 4.
And through turn 4 smoothly, the 57. There is Jimmy Horton in second place, getting it away from Farron. 1, 2, and 3 down the front straightaway.
Here comes the number 5 on the outside. That's Doug Hoffman driving the leader Schmidt car, number 5 this afternoon. The same car we saw in Syracuse. On the outside, battling there with Kenny Tremont in car number 21.
Tremont tries to duck inside, can't do it.
Ring Dan, the stock car man, goes way high. How dare you go up there, Dan? It didn't work either. He lost a lot of ground. Again, Danny driving the FX Caprera. Anaheim Auto Auctions car number FX1 here this afternoon.
Off smoothly, there's BACHETTI. There's the interval between BACHETTI and Horton, and then Bobby Varon, 1, 2, 3.
So BACHETTI, a bit of a surprise when he earned the pole here yesterday, but he is the champion as we established earlier. He won 3 times here this year in this class, so shouldn't be a surprise, but yet with all these heavy hitters behind him, it was a surprise.
Tremont one more time. Inside the 5, a 4-time winner, Doug Hoffman. Can't quite get the job done as they race down the back straightaway.
Tremont, this is T.O. Pro car. There's Danny Johnson. Now he was up on top. That didn't work. He comes to the bottom. Tries to find on the inside of Tremont. That didn't work. A little further back in the pack, there we see Hoffman in the yellow number 5 trying to run down Dave Camara, the driver out of Pulteney, Vermont, in the Slate Express.
Well, there was a question at the outset who would come out of that little threesome with Danny Johnson, Pete Bignell, and Brett Hearn. The answer is no contest. Danny Johnson exploded out of that.
He certainly did, and he said we have some great shots. I'm not sure we're going to get great shots with that camera or not, but Danny doing a great job as he always does. That's one of the new Troyer 4-link cars. They've got a Chevrolet in it this weekend. Last time we came to you from Syracuse, they were using a Ford, but it's back to a Gordon built Chevrolet in the FX Caprera number FX1 that Danny's chauffeuring here this afternoon. 5 laps are complete in this 150 lap contest.
Meanwhile, report out of Andy BACHETTI's pit is they would like Andy to race high in turn 1. That last time through, he was nice and low. Looking for him to conserve his car just a bit up high and out of the groove, but that did not take place last time through turn 1.
Well, there's a report also that there may be a little bit of smoke coming out of BACHETTI's car. He has a problem of another kind in the form of Jimmy Horton. Jimmy Horton has caught BACHETTI as they race off into turn number 1. That's the battle for the lead. A little further back here we see Danny Johnson at work in his office. Daring Dan, the stock car man, dives to the bottom of the racetrack, tries to make a pass on the inside, can't make it work. But Andy BACHETTI is off the pace on the back straightaway. There it is. It's a flat left front tire on BACHETTI's car. So that's the problem. Maybe smoke may have been another problem, but BACHETTI's car slows with a flat tire, and the Wild Child out of Sheffield, Massachusetts will not win here this afternoon.
So BACHETTI into the pits, and let's go down to the pits, and Cowboy Paul Small standing by.
I would wager to say, Doug, that the reason the left front tire is cut down on the BACHETTI car is because of the hole that everybody's running through in the bottom of turn number 1. Everybody going down to the inside to stay tight to the bottom lane is going through a pretty good rut down there that is starting to open up, and as that rut opens up, it's causing more and more cars to get jarred. There's a good possibility that they may have broken the bead lock on that tire, which is why it has gone down. It doesn't look like when he came by there was any significant damage. BACHETTI has pulled the car now into the pit area itself, right up in the back of the trailer, and looks like his day is pretty much done. It's a terrible break for BACHETTI, and guys, I think we're going to have to watch that spot in turn 1. This is going to be a trouble spot for the rest of this race.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Horton having no trouble at all, just passing Mike Senna. He's already into lap traffic, lap 10, and Horton has the lead.
Gary Edwards will be the next driver to fall down to our leader, Horton, and that was, again, a surprising move on the part of BACHETTI, not opting for just a pit stop and going right behind the wall, so apparently he's going to call it a day here after just 10 laps. Here we see Horton and moving around the lap car of Gary Edwards. Not far behind Horton, just the lap car separating was the second place runner, the 00, the Dover brake car, being chauffeured this weekend by Bobby Varon.
And we should point out, this is a dirt track, and the dirt can separate, and you can get holes, and you can get ruts. These drivers race through them weekly, but it creates a special challenge to the driver and the machine.
It certainly does, and the point that Paul was making earlier, if that hole gets big enough, it can just simply rip a tire right off the wheel, and that may have been the problem for BACHETTI.
There's a look at the FX1, the in-car camera of the doctor, Danny Johnson, as he negotiates the turns, and Tremont is right on him.
Now Danny has moved by Tremont to pick up a spot. There he moves by Gary Edwards. That, I believe, would be for position number 5. So the leader is Jimmy Horton. He's out front, almost in a different zip code right now. The 00 of Bobby Barron rides in the number 2 spot.
Riding with Danny Johnson, and you can see how he has to work that steering wheel through the turns.
Pierre Dagenet in the 124, the next car to go down a lap to the doctor. Daring Dan, the stock car man, as he flies by now and crowds his way to the inside, opens up the door. Tremont was there trying to take advantage of that open door, but Dagenet closes it, and Tremont will fall off the pace just a little bit.
When Danny wants to pass you, you kind of know it, don't you?
Well, he is a very, very talented race car driver. He knows how to get around wherever he's racing, and he has won a lot of races here. We talked in the show about Alan giving up, his brother Alan giving up Canandaigua to race in Barrettville. Well, Danny gave up Canandaigua a number of years ago to race here in Orange County. And then we've got a spin on the back straight. Timmy Burnett goes around.
And
that's
Barron.
Yeah, our second place car, Bobby Barron, as he was negotiating the lap car of Timmy Burnett, young driver out of Phelps, New York. And Burnett does a 360, a spin and go, and didn't hurt anybody, or so it would appear.
Well, let's see. Barron lost a couple of positions.
So Horton is the leader. Doug Hoffman rides in second, just a car length or 2 back. Danny Johnson is in third. Barron is in 4. Tremont is in 5. Running 6th is the 26th. That's Dave Camara.
So he lost just 2 spots, Bobby Barron, with that spin, and that's extraordinary, and he seems to be running on the pace.
Yeah, it didn't seem to hurt the car at all, but I'm sure it upset the driver a whole bunch.
Meanwhile, Danny Johnson, who started 11th, is already very much in contention in this race.
Very interesting story, this car. It's a brand new Troyer 4-link car, as we described earlier. There we see Kenny Tremont trying to make room around the inside of Bobby Barron. Now he'll go to the outside. Patty O'Brien, the white number 6, showing in the screen there as well. There's Camara going back to the car that Danny Johnson is driving.
Look at Barron.
Yeah.
Look at that contact. Wow.
Yeah, Tremont gets by on the outside. Barron wasn't all that ready to give up that spot. Joe Morel, the black number 11, going a lap down as he gets out of the way and allows Nell to move through as well. McNell coming through now with that bright yellow numeral number 42, the Hoosier Tires car.
Brett Hearn behind him continues to struggle, but there is Kenny Tremont in the number 21.
Tremont, after that disappointing second place finish in Syracuse a couple of weeks ago, almost had it won when Pete Bignell snuck by on a restart. Here we see a battle for the lead. Hoffman is right there as they races down the back straightaway. Jimmy Horton and the Bob and Michelle Faust B&F General Machine car trying to find room around a slower lap car, and while that's happening, Hoffman is able to close in and challenge, and not far behind is the orange FX1 of Danny Johnson.
That's the Butch Tittle machine, huh?
Lauren Holland is in the pits with car number 280. Lauren Holland off the pace with the 280.
There's your top 5. Jimmy Horton leads, Doug Hoffman second, around that Butch Tittle car, which is putting Butch a lap down. And Horton out of turn 4 down the front straightaway has extended his lead about 3 car lengths.
Pits will be open after lap number 30. We're now on lap number 22. There you see Danny Johnson rim riding around Tittle. Tittle out of Saylorsford, Pennsylvania. Normally drives a Z car. He's in 5S this afternoon. Danny running 3 in the orange FX1, trying to run down the second place car, the yellow number 5 of Hoffman. And the black M1. Jimmy Horton leads, and Horton has had a great year, but it has not produced many wins. In fact, almost no wins. And a great day it would be for Jimmy Horton if he could just put one together here this afternoon.
And so key is the pit strategy, and he's got the crew for it.
He does. Some very, very talented individuals travel with Jimmy wherever he races, big block, small block, or whatever. Right now, Jimmy's got a problem. That's a whole lot of lap cars directly in front of him. It's going to be a jam fest. They work their way down the back straightaway.
He negotiates well. Hoffman right on his back bumper, tests him down low. Now turn 4 down the front straightaway. Let's watch it.
It's Randy Sherlock driving the 97X, about to go a lap down. And Hoffman has snuck by. in traffic. Hoffman gets by. Danny was just made contact with Horton. Here we see Danny at work. Hoffman, a 4-time champion of this race, struggling to move by the 97X. Randy Sherlock, he now does make the pass. Horton will try to take advantage of the open door. Back in traffic just a bit. This is what leader Doug Hoffman sees as he works out of 2 and down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and he's lengthening his lead. He's lengthening his lead on Jimmy Horton, who is struggling now with the lap traffic. Then there is a long drop off to Danny Johnson, who struggled in turn 1 a lap ago.
Yeah, they may have bent something in Danny's car, or he may have bent something in the car, because he has now fallen about a half a straightaway behind second place runner Jimmy Horton. So there's maybe a problem there, and while he's losing ground to Horton, Kenny Tremont is closing in. So there may be a problem with Danny's FX1.
And Bobby Varon, who was involved in that spin earlier, just had a heavy contact with Dave Camara in turn 2, so he got bounced once again, and he's struggling now.
And he just get bounced around some more as he and Mike Rickey get together in turn 1 as they try to move by Jerry Higbee Jr., but that didn't work, and Varon going the wrong way here in the early going.
Your leader is the number 5 of Doug Hoffman. We're at Eastern States, and we have a spin in turn 2. A spin in turn 2, and the yellow flag goes out. Let's see if we can get a camera on that.
Tom Hindley in car number 17 that's going around. Another car also involved just a little bit further up the road. That's Donnie Elliott in the 49. Everybody's going to get around, but that happened directly in front of our leaders. What a break for the leaders, as this will clear out the lap traffic and allow Hoffman and Horton to have a clean racetrack to go back to green. And we're also on lap 30 when the pit stops it's a possibility. So we'll see what happens here as lap number 30 is now on the scoreboard, and pits will be open momentarily.
If you take a look at the action in the pits, you see the crews are scurrying now for position, have their gas tanks out, and we will keep it right here as the lead car comes around, and we have a host of cars coming into the pits. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small to cover the pit activity.
Okay, here we go. Pit stops are coming up now. Here comes race leader Doug Hoffman and Jimmy Horton in front of our position. He's got damage to the left rear quarter. It's a gas and go stop for both Hoffman and Horton back upstairs.
And Horton comes out first. Horton will come out of the pits first, then Doug Hoffman, then Kenny Tremont, Dave Camara, and Danny Johnson, then Bobby Varon.
And they're all being held, so that it's very important where you come out, but they're not going to let them blend in until the cars go around. So
let's go back down to Paul Small.
Boy, have we got a jam fest down here as everybody tries to get back onto the racetrack. Just before that yellow flag came out, I just conferred with Danny Johnson and the crew of the FX1, and the major problem, they've got a busted brake line on the FX1 machine, guys. Now, Tim Hindley in the 1H here, he just hit somebody right here on pit road and made contact that may have damaged the front end. The front wheels are not turning on this race car. He's right now on the inside edge here at turn number 1 at the edge of the racetrack. There was such a jam fest coming down pit road here. Now he's got, it looks like, a flat right rear tire. May also be a problem, or at least a wobbling right rear wheel. That Hindley car has definitely got some problems. It was a cluster down here, to say the very least, guys.
Yeah, and it is a flat, as you can see clearly.
I think it's more than a flat tire. That was damage that occurred on pit road as everybody was scurrying to get out there in a hurry. And Tim Hindley has suspension damage along with that flat tire. So it didn't help him to hurry at all. And he'll now hurry back in and try to make a stop, but he's going to go to the back of the pack.
26 cars got into the pits, and most of them got out cleanly. We are live on the hard clay for the CarQuest 150, all part of Eastern States Weekend, and we are live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Green flag is out, and we are Dirt.
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour has made another house call. All he had white knuckle time in the Budweiser car right now.
Rush Hour.
New shirt. Need the rush. Need the rush. New shirt.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are back at Orange County Fair Speedway for the CarQuest 150, and we're back under green, Gary Montgomery.
And Brian Davis out of Mount Cobb, Pennsylvania is our surprise leader. Maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. He didn't make a pit stop. He didn't have to do that yet, so he's leading as the rest of the front runners, the guys we've been watching all race long, are now mired in the middle of the pack, and this is where oftentimes, Doug, there's a problem. These fast cars in the middle, they're all anxious to get to the front, nobody patient, and here we see a shot of Jimmy Horton coming through, being followed by the 21 of Kenny Tremont. Also showing in the screen the AutoZone number 2, not the 20. That 2 is Brian Mazda, a team car to Brett Hearn.
So the leader on the track of those who have pitted is Jimmy Horton.
That's right. Horton is the leading driver that has already made that mandatory stop, and he runs about a straightaway behind our leader, Brian Davis, out of Mount Cobb, Pennsylvania, regular here at the Orange County Fair Speedway.
A look at the in-car camera of the number 20 of Brett Hearn. Word down from Cowboy Paul Small in the pits. Confidence among all the crews that pitted that they have enough fuel to last the remainder of the race.
Yeah, as we talked about at the top of the show, Hearn ran dry with just 2 laps to go last year, so all he needed was a splash. I think the bigger question today is tires. The track conditions are a whole lot different than they were last year. Last year, tires didn't play into it at all, but today the track very, very hard. It could very well be a factor. We've got yellow on the speedway once again.
Car stopped just out of turn 2.
And that's Todd Burley, who stopped and goes, and he's on pit road with the year 2000 car. Also, we've got another car involved. And that'll be Rick Hill. Rick Hill out of Lafayette, New Jersey.
He's just outside of turn 2. Well, you know, why don't we get a definition of terms? Because I hear the word splash of gas, splash and go. What are we talking, a gallon, 2 gallons?
Well, everybody's going to have a different strategy on that, but it's whatever the minimum amount is that they think will take them the entire distance. That's all. They don't want to spend any more time on pit road than they have to, so a gallon, I would say, would qualify as a splash. And that's probably all they would need, again, if it goes as per last year.
Let's get an update from pit road and Cowboy Paul Small.
Guys, I'm not sure if this is a race or full contact war that's going on. When the green flag came out for the last restart going into the first and second turns, there was an incredible amount of bumper tag. The outside lane of this racetrack has not come in yet. Everybody is on the bottom of the speedway, and running the bottom of the racetrack, there's only so much room, so we get what we call the old give and go that happens going into the corners. You give the guy in front of you a little tap, you hope that he goes up to the outside so you can slip underneath him and get by him. That held Brett Hearn up for a couple of laps off that restart. He was mired in thick traffic. Everybody's just banging nose to tail, nose to tail. They didn't really have any room to get freed up to get the car working. Once the traffic thinned out, he had enough room to start moving again. So we'll have to keep an eye on these restarts, and especially how things pan out in the first couple of laps after that, because it looks like the majority of the incidents that we're going to see today may come with everybody running in these tight packs, or at least until the bottom of the racetrack gets worse than the top lane and everybody moves up.
Well, Cowboy's got his definition of give and go. I hadn't heard that one before. We've got Steve Dodd showing up front right now. I'm not sure if he's there or not. Interestingly enough, the pace car did not pick up the driver that we thought was leading, Brian Davis. Instead, it's fallen in front of Jimmy Horton. So we'll see how this thing plays out. Davis is all the way to the rear. No, he's not.
I saw Davis in the pits and then back out again. Meanwhile, Jimmy Horton is running up front. We're side by side on the restart.
Horton, Tremont, Danny Johnson, Doug Hoffman, and Jerry Higbee make up your top 5 as we're prepared to go back to racing. Will be green on lap number 44.
And the green flag is out, and we're racing once again in Middletown. Jimmy Horton with a nice jump. Good shot of the cars coming down the front straightaway and diving into turn 1. Yes, it is physical. Up way high, one car.
And I guess he got away with it. In a cloud of dust in a high-o silver, and I didn't see where he went, but apparently whoever it was got away. And Jimmy Horton leads the pack as they work here on the front straightaway, lap 45.
Looked like it was Chuck McKee who got way, way high, but did get away with it.
Here we go back to see Danny Johnson working his way back up.
All right, well, we've talked about one pit and taking on a splash. How about tires? Much of a consideration here at all? We've heard just some conversation. Brett Hearn talking to his crew that he may look for a tire change at around lap 100, maybe.
Well, I just said that I thought that perhaps tires could be a factor. Obviously, I don't think Brett was listening to me, but new tires go faster than old tires under any circumstances if you got time to make the stop. So we'll see as the race unfolds. We're lap number 46 now.
There's Brett Hearn, currently running 13th.
He's also got a flat tire, I think. Hearn has a problem negotiating as he's trying to get by Pete Bicknell, and maybe not. He's trying to get by Bicknell, but apparently all tires are inflated as he races down the back straightaway. Looked like the car dropped out. May have been a flat tire, but not the case.
Well, staying out on the racetrack, we'll get a bird's eye view of it. Looks okay from here.
Everything is okay, except he's running 13th, and the guy in front of him is a master of small block racing, Pete Bicknell out of St. Catharines, Ontario.
We'll take a look at Pete Bicknell's car as he comes around turn 3, turn 4 down the front straightaway, and see if all of his shoes are properly inflated.
They are. There you see the bump that Paul was talking about earlier, and that bump upsets the car a bunch. Also showing in the screen there was an 84 of Gary Tompkins. Gary having a great run here in the early going of the CarQuest 150, but nobody's having as good a run as is Jimmy Horton, our race leader. He has opened up his advantage over Danny Johnson, who now runs second, to about a quarter of a straightaway.
Well, one of our spotters says Pete Bicknell's left front is low on air, and if there's one tire on a car that's tough to see whether it's low, it's that left front. We'll keep an eye on it.
It's also the one that makes the least amount of difference, and Pete keeping it up in the air so it doesn't show. It's a whole lot better to have all 4 of them with air in it, but if you're going to have one that doesn't have all the air that it's supposed to, yeah, that's true. It is definitely low there.
It's going down, and you could see it as he was ready to duck into turn number 1, and Brett Hearn yet has not been able to make the pass, so credit the number 42 of Pete Bicknell because he's really hanging in there.
We just got through talking about what a talented driver he is, and he's going to demonstrate it for a while now as he'll tricycle around the speedway. We often use that term when the guys have air in all 4 of their tire cells still riding around and get the weight transfer such that they've got that left front wheel right off the ground. That often works to their advantage in the handling department. It's especially true when your left front tire is flat. So Bicknell will keep it twisted up as much as he possibly can and hope for a caution, make that stop under yellow as opposed to what would be a disaster if he were to have to stop under green.
Now earlier we got a report.
And we got the caution he was looking for. Okay, this is what Pete Bicknell's looking for.
Spin in 2.
It's Donnie Elliott, I believe. Yes, Donnie Elliott's around. A driver out of Middletown, New York in the 49.
Meanwhile, we would expect to see Pete Bicknell into the pits.
I think you can bet on that one.
And you'll see the mastery of a crew going to work, changing a tire while the race is on.
Pete's crew is standing by with a fresh tire.
And it looks like Mr. Smallblock wants to stay out there until everything gets bunched back up again.
Yeah, that certainly works to his advantage. Get them bunched up and slowed down, and then when the cars are going as slow as they possibly can on the racetrack, he'll lose the least amount of time on pit road, and so he stays out yet another lap.
So he's staying down there and now ducks inside.
Yeah, the field is now tucked in behind the pace car. So.
And Bicknell is still out on the track. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
That is a veteran move by Pete Bicknell. Until the field closes up, Bicknell didn't want to come into the pit area. Reason why, with everybody strung out and still moving around the racetrack at a relatively big speed, he didn't want to, A, risk going a lap down by not giving himself enough time in the pits, and B, he wants to make sure that he has the time in the pits to take care of everything properly. So Bicknell, what he's doing is pulling up alongside the pace car, then he'll duck down onto pit road when the pits are opened up. This will give him a full lap to get the tire changed. Now, I'm surprised the crew is set up down here, and here comes Pete now into the pit area, being signaled by everybody. I'm surprised that he doesn't have a gas can out to get a little extra insurance fuel into the car, but right now their main concern is that flat left front tire. The Bicknell car going up on the jacks right now. They're having to really work hard to just pull that left front off the race car. Looking at the tires that comes by, there's one damaged part of it. Looks like just a little tiny tear, maybe about a ½ inch long on the sidewall of that tire. So that is what caused the problem. Fresh tire on the Bicknell car. He's down and away, and I can't help but thinking, guys, because Andy BACHETTI had a top. Whoa, Bicknell's car stalling here as he leaves the pit area. But just to make reference, Andy BACHETTI's tire that came off his left front had a similar tear in a similar spot. May have been from that dreaded hole on the inside of turn 1.
You know, earlier, Gary, we were getting word from the BACHETTI pit that they wanted Andy to go up high on the racetrack in turn 1. Is that what we're seeing here thus far?
Well, nobody's going high. Everybody is staying right down on the bottom, hugging that and protecting that inside lane. I think they're afraid to go up on top here in the early going. It may just be a little too loose up there right now. No use scrubbing off and losing a lot of speed at this point in the race. So they're going to all stay on the bottom as long as they possibly can.
We are 1 lap now, less than half a lap away from going green once again, and the Bombard Chevrolet pace car pulls into the pits, and here we go, back to racing. Jimmy Horton in the M1 is the leader. Second place is Danny Johnson, and we have a lot of bumping and grinding down the front straightaway.
We got a full-blown crash that almost happened. Brian Masden in car number 2, the AutoZone team car to Brett Hearn, was in the middle of what could have been a disaster. He got out of harm's way. A bunch of jamming and crashing behind him, but the lead, no change there. Jimmy Horton, Baba Michelle Faust, the black number M1, runs at the head of the class with Danny Johnson 2, Kenny Tremont 3. Running in the number 4 spot is the Dieter Schmidt 5 with Doug Hoffman at the keyboard, and Bobby Barron has resurfaced and running in position number 5. Moving back to the 6th spot is Dave Camara. 7 now is the Ricky Boy in the Nick's Cafe car. Then it's Brett Hearn running in the number 8 spot. As we're on lap number 51 as they cross the line right now.
Strong start for Danny Johnson up to second place. There's a pack of cars led by Brett Hearn, who's trying to make a move.
And there's Ricky in the 28 showing behind him. Gary Tompkins coming up through as well in car number 84. And there you saw a shot of Alan Johnson, AJ Slideways, in the Maroney Transaction Group, car number 14J. So the 1998 Mr. 358, Mr. Dirt 358, Alan Johnson, trying to break into the top 10. In fact, he may have just done it as he moves by Jerry Higley in car number 47.
Alan Johnson currently runs 9th.
I guess that qualifies as top 10.
Well, he started back 26, so he's charging as well.
Charging, and also how it all played out on pit road. Now, I have to admit, I didn't see how Alan's crew did, but that's so very, very important here in this short track competition, getting in and out of the pits in a hurry. The guy who got in second and came out first was Jimmy Horton, and he's continued to lead since that stop.
And he's continuing to search for a victory here in 1998. He's the leader of the CarQuest 150. We're at Eastern States Weekend in Middletown, New York at Orange County Fair Speedway. Our coverage will continue. We are live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back at the CarQuest 150, all part of Eastern States Weekend, and the leader is Jimmy Horton.
Jimmy Horton trying to put a lap on Pete Bicknell. We talked earlier about how Bicknell made that stop under caution, did not lose a lap, but he's about to lose it on the racetrack if Jimmy Horton has anything to say about it. Danny Johnson is challenging for the lead as well. So there's Danny. You saw a shot, Danny, and there's a car on the outside making contact. But Danny able to muscle his way around the inside, trying to run down race leader Jimmy Horton. So we'll set the order for you at lap number 70. Horton is leader. Danny Johnson runs second. Kenny Tremont is third. Doug Hoffman is fourth. Bobby Barron is fifth. Dave Camara is sixth. Brett Hearn is 7. Mike Rickey is 8. Alan Johnson runs at 9. Gary Tompkins is at 10. Jerry Higbee is 11. Jeff Hetzer, we haven't talked about him all day. A 2-time champion this race, rides back at the number 12 spot. Patty O'Brien is 13th. Tim Fuller is 14th. And Mike Perotti rounds out position number 15 on lap number 70.
And it's the M1 of Jimmy Horton, and right on his back bumper, the FX1 of Danny Johnson. That is a battle for the lead, and you see how Danny Johnson just slings that car into turn 1 and is right on the back bumper of Jimmy Horton.
Now this is a classic example, Doug, of what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Anybody daring to go to the outside. Obviously Horton has elected to stay down on the bottom at all costs. Danny, I thought, had thoughts about going up on top, decided better of it. And the leader, the lap car, McNell isn't going to move if he doesn't have to. The only way he's going to move is if he gets a little one of those hit and goes or whatever it was that Paul Small was talking about a few minutes ago. So what McNell would like now is a caution that would get him back around at the back of the field, but it isn't going to happen here. And Horton is getting.
Well, he's getting anxious, isn't he?
Running out of patience. Yeah, getting anxious. He's going to go to the outside. I'll be darned. Somebody's finally going to the outside, and it's Jimmy Horton. Has now figured out the only way he's going to get around McNell is to do it. He has, in fact, done it. He's going to go by another car on the outside as well. Now Danny Johnson's going to have to think about going to the outside.
Couldn't get McKee. Now he tries to dig back down and can't shut off McNell, who gets that lap back. And meanwhile, following McNell is Danny Johnson, and Johnson has the lead.
That's the price you pay for going to the outside, and Jimmy Horton has just paid that ultimate price as he shuffled back to 3-4 spots. And I think he'll run 4 now as they sort things out and work through turns 1 and 2.
So Danny Johnson has taken the lead. Second place, the 21 of Kenny Tremont.
But it's not over for Danny yet, because he, little bumper tag there, as he's going to muscle his way around on the inside. What I was about to say is Danny's got the same problem that Horton had, and that's a whole bunch of lap cars in front of him. Tremont has now taken over the number 2 spot. There's Horton back in 3. So they all move by McNell. Kenny Tremont, West Sand Lake, New York, the Gable Motorsports, Tremont Lumber, car number 21. We'll see him tomorrow in his dad's number 115.
So now Horton tries to work on Tremont for second place, and Tremont is hit hard.
That was Rick Mill in car 77 making contact, and Jimmy Horton got caught up in that deal. He'll lose some ground. Don't believe anybody hit him, but he just made an evasive move to avoid contact, and he'll pay.
Yeah, it turns out Horton gets the worst of it.
Yeah, on a couple of occasions. Now this car is getting a little squirrely, so maybe Jimmy's wearing out the tires. He's running out of patience. Here comes Doug Hoffman up on the outside, the bright yellow Lincoln Auto Body car. Hoffman trying to pick up a couple of spots. But the leader is Danny Johnson, Daring Dan, the stock car man. Tremont runs in 2, Horton is in 3. And Hoffman may have a problem. Hoffman slows out of turn number 2 and drifting towards the back. Maybe he just collects the car now and he's lost his spot with Brett Hearn.
Well, there's a look at the number 5 right behind Brett Hearn in that 20 machine down the front straightaway, and looks to be back on the pace. Bobby Varon in the 00. We have some great racing going on here, and boy, you know, the lap traffic gave up ground grudgingly.
Nobody moving from that inside lane, and we should establish that Hoffman has been shuffled back to the number 8 spot now. Running 7th is Hearn in the auto zone number 20. 6th is Varon in the Dover Break 00. Dave Cruikshank back here at the Orange County Fair Speedway, where he belongs with his Dover Break cars. He's got Bobby Varon at the keyboard here this afternoon.
70 laps down, 80 laps to go in the CarQuest 150. Eastern States Weekend 98, and what a huge crowd on hand. Record-breaking crowd.
They've filled the grandstand, and they've got the drive-in area almost full. Campers, pickup trucks, passenger cars, and a whole lot of people enjoying themselves from the drive-in viewing off the back straightaway.
We are actually now 81 laps into this race. 69 to go.
We were watching Brett Hearn in his office just a moment ago. It looks about a whole lot tougher from the inside than it does from the outside.
There's your race leader, the FX1 of Danny Johnson. Kenny Tremont in the 21s running second.
And they're putting a lap on the surprise Earl Paulus, Kunkletown, Pennsylvania driver, in the black 4-star transmissions car. Paulus, who runs enduro races, had a great qualifying run here yesterday. Riding with second-generation driver Danny Johnson. His dad, Milt, a former champion, and of course the boys started racing. Alan first, and then Danny, and they've been champions and great racers since they started this little thing of theirs when they were teenagers.
Well, once again, as we had a look a few moments ago at Danny Johnson, now further back in the pack, Doug Hoffman and Brett Hearn getting after it.
And that's a change in position there. Hoffman goes to the number 7 spot. Hearn is shuffled back to 8. Mike Rickey running in 9, and the next cafe, car number 28.
I was about to say, well, what can you say about Danny Johnson? He seems to He having one glorious ride once again. The cream does really rise to the top, doesn't it?
Well, Danny is not known for his patience, and he'll get to the front as quickly as he possibly can and then hold back nothing. Don't call him Daring Dan, the stock car man, for nothing. He had another moniker a few years ago, 9 Grand Dan, and he'd wind it up to 9,000 RPMs. If the engine wouldn't take it, he'd take it up there.
65 laps remaining, and you see the number 5 of Doug Hoffman. Let's go down to the pits for an update in Cowboy Paul Small.
Well, guys, there is no problem with Doug Hoffman's race car. He befell the same malady that Jimmy Horton did. He just got punted off the inside hub, and he lost a bunch of spots. So now he's just got to his way back up towards the front of the field again. And we're seeing that the outside of the racetrack, again, really hasn't come in at all, even here past the halfway point. Nobody will go upstairs, especially on the outside of turn number 4, because there's a little bit of a dip on the outside. And I've seen a couple of drivers, Bobby Hicks Jr. most notably, come off the outside of turn number 4 and literally slap the right rear up against the concrete. You can only do that so many times before something eventually breaks, guys.
Yeah, white walls don't work on a race car generally, and also these drivers saw what happened to Jimmy Horton when he got up on top, so they're all going to stay at the bottom as long as they possibly can.
There's the battle on the racetrack right now, Hoffman and Hearn.
Just in front of them is Bobby Varon in the 00. But the leader is still Danny Johnson, being chased by Kenny Tremont. Tremont runs about a car length back as we work lap number 90 now.
And it is Danny Johnson and Kenny Tremont who have put about a quarter of a racetrack on Jimmy Horton in the M1.
Horton now putting a lap on Chuck McKee in the East Bay Raceway car, the car that won here at our Skoll Show on Rush Hour Live a couple of months ago.
There's Varon in the 00. Doug Hoffman in the number 5. 60 laps remaining, 90 laps in the books.
Lee Nisnik in that bright orange number 40, young driver out of Wappinger Falls, New York. He's a rookie here at Orange County this year.
And we have a lot of smoke in the car. That's Varon.
Suspension part has broken in Varon's car, and the rear has dropped down, and that'll be a day for the young driver out of Sharon Springs, New York. Caution on the speedway.
Now we saw contact coming out of turn 2 between Varon in the 00 and Hoffman in the number 5, and I don't know if that was the cause of it.
Well, it could very well have been. I didn't see the contact, but also the rough track conditions that we've been talking about taking its toll perhaps. But whatever it is, the toll, the price that's paid is that Varon will be a DNF here this afternoon.
So the leader continues to be the FX1 of Danny Johnson. We are 92 laps into the record books here at Eastern States Weekend and the CarQuest 150. Our coverage will continue on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We've got a new leader coming out of turn number 4. It's Bob McCready.
It's still Gary Ballou, followed by Dr. Pepper, Tommy Corrales, and Billy Osmond makes the move on the inside as they move down the back.
Race flying is out. We're underway.
The DIRT Motorsports Hall of Fame and Classic Car Museum, where memories roar to life.
Don't just go to the race. Listen in. Experience it
Doug
live
Logan
with a
along with
complete
Gary
scanner
Montgomery.
package
We're
from
back at Orange County Fair Speedway for the CarQuest 150, and we're 1 lap away from going green once again.
And one driver that will not see the checkered flag, Doug, he was running in the number 9 spot as the caution came out. Gary Tompkins broke a rear end on the Bill Trout Honeyoy Auto Parts car, and he is now behind pit road. Here are the top 10. Danny Johnson is our race leader. Kenny Tremont runs 2nd. Jimmy Horton is 3rd. Dave Camara was 4. Running 5 is Doug Hoffman. 6 is Brett Hearn. Mike Rickey is 7th. 8th is Alan Johnson. 9th now is Patty O'Brien. And rounding out the top 10 is Jerry Higbee Jr.
Field bunches up in turn 3.
This will be green on 97, Doug.
And here comes the green. Danny Johnson fires down the front straightaway. Tremont, Horton, Hoffman back a few cars.
We had a shot there of Jeff Hetzler going to the outside. Hetzler, we haven't talked much about him. He was running in the number 11 spot. We got to the top 10 while he was running 11th.
Car up high in turn 2 and stall, bringing out the yellow flag. Yellow back out on the racetrack.
That's Randy Sherlock driving the backup car for Higbee.
Stopped long enough to bring out the yellow. He's got a flat rear. He'll be able to get into the pits and get that changed. Will he be able to get it changed fast enough to keep from going down further?
He started in the back of the pack when his own car failed. He picked up this alternate ride here just a few minutes before race time.
He'll lose another lap. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
I'm right down on the inside of turn number 1, just inside the Jersey barrier here. And if you look at this area right down here, this is the hole that we're talking about. What has happened here is, looking, there's about an 8-foot section down here where the clay on the top is separated from the rest of the surface, been pulled up and pushed away. So you've got, well, it's almost like a crater. It's not a very particularly deep one, but it does have rough edges. As you watch the cars go through it, you can see the suspensions bounce. Now, when they are under green and they come through here, the cars are getting sideways. They go right through this hole. It upsets the whole car, because this is about where you're setting up to get the rest of the way around turns 1 and 2. So it's really difficult for the drivers to have to deal with this. This hole started only maybe about a foot or so across, and you can see now it reaches all the way out almost into the second group of the racetrack. This has been causing a lot of guys grief today, not only from a reliability standpoint, but from a driving standpoint.
Yeah, drive your family car through that, and it'll wake you up a little bit, huh?
It'll break more than a tire. The guy paying the ultimate price for that is perhaps Pete Bicknell. He's just been on pit road with another flat left front tire, so something definitely not working for Bicknell and his operation as we see them shuffling for position here under yellow. White flag is being displayed. They go green next time around, and Doug Hoffman getting anxious. He's trying to find his way around lap cars or something or other. I'm not sure what he's doing. Trying to get to the front's what he's trying to do.
Lap cars will go inside for the restart, and one of those cars down low, the 265 of Chuck McKee, he may be trying to get that lap back that he lost earlier. He'll have that opportunity. He's a fast runner.
He's got to get right up next to Danny Johnson and then win the drag race. Right now, he's not even bothering to go to Danny's spot, so I'm not sure about what that's all about.
They're all, of course, look at that bumping before we even went back to green. So everyone's protecting their own turf down low on the racetrack, and no chance for McKee from that standpoint. Meanwhile, our leaders are back at it once again, and there's a battle for second place right now as Jimmy Horton is on the back bumper of Kenny Tremont.
Horton is there. Clear racetrack in front of our leaders, and we've got debris on the speedway and another yellow. We also have crash. Pete Bicknell's involved. Oh my goodness, we've got 4 cars involved. Sherlock in the 97, Elliott in the 49, Nimzik in the 40, and of course Pete Bicknell in 42. 4 cars involved in this altercation in turn number 1.
Little dodging after going on there with the leaders, ducking inside Bicknell's car, who he could not get refired to get that lap. Keep from going another lap down. Now he's flying down the back straightaway, maybe headed into the pits. No, in fact, he's staying out on the racetrack trying to rejoin the back of the pack. So he's a veteran and he's cagey.
He is. There's Bob Denny, Chief Inspector for the DIRT Motorsports organization, picking up the debris. That's all I saw initially. Well, I looked a few feet in front of it and you saw 4 cars that were causing that debris. Bob Denny, Chief Inspector for the DIRT Motorsports organization.
Here's Danny Johnson. 103 laps complete of our 150-lapper championship event for the 358 modifieds. We have a replay of that little tangle between turn 1 and turn 2. And watch it. Heavy contact. We had contact among the leaders before they restarted this last time.
A cloud of dust and a high O silver or something like that. See it if you can. Mike Rickey having a great run here is on pit road now with a flat left front tire on the next Cafe car.
There they are. Well, you know it's sunny and dry. The green flag is out. We are racing once again at Orange County Fair Speedway.
There's a shot of Patty O'Brien. We haven't talked about Pat much in the Pat's Radiator car number 6, white car with orange numerals. 6-time Mr. Dirt champion out of Kingston, Ontario. Further back. Further up, actually, is a battle for the number 4 spot now.
And Hoffman and Camara had to ease off the accelerator just a bit, and Hoffman was able to dive down low and get the job done.
So Hoffman comes to 4, Camara falls to 5, Alan Johnson is in 6, Brett Hearn is in 7, and O'Brien runs in the number 8 spot. They're all chasing Daring Dan, the stock car man.
And any questions about Brett Hearn that we posed earlier coming in around lap 100 for tires, you can forget about it. Now 106 in. Hearn trying to put the moves on Alan Johnson, can't get it done.
Hearn has assessed the situation relative to new tires, and of course he'd give up track position. We've seen how going to the outside just isn't working for anybody with new tires. We've not seen that situation, but the gamble I don't think would be worth it. New tires on the outside wouldn't make up the difference.
And while he's battling for position inside the top 10, he has not been a story at all when it comes to talking about lead.
But he knows better than all of us that they only pay for lap number 150. He's a money racer. He's got that streak going. He's trying to win his first of the season here in Orange County, but his 500th career win, he's won 499, coming at Fonda last week when he won 498 and 499.
Here we go. Hearn tries. Danny Johnson had a wheel underneath, couldn't get it done. Allen closed the door, and Alan Johnson in the 14 leads the 20 of Brett Hearn in that battle for position.
It's position number 6 that they're battling for, but Camara right there running in the number 5 position. Then you see the number 5 running for, that's Hoffman, bright yellow car. Now working lap number 110.
And there are your leaders. Danny Johnson, Kenny Tremont, Jimmy Horton.
There's Alan Johnson trying to open up the inside lane on David Camara. Will not work. Hearn goes to the outside. That didn't work either. So where are you going to go? Right down the bottom is where you got to go.
Well, it just seems like you got to duke it out down low.
Dodge the ruts and hope that nobody hits you when you get off the gas to make that evasive action through the red rough racetrack. Right there, the bottom is open, but Allen doesn't have enough steam to make the pass on the inside. It's so very, very hard when they got the RPMs way down working the bottom of the racetrack. Takes a very, very stout engine. Crank it up in a hurry and make that pass on the inside.
Camara in the 26, Alan Johnson in the 14, Brett Hearn in the 20, racing for 5th position. CarQuest 150.
Tip of the hat to Timmy Fuller, driving a car that we've never seen him in before. He's driving the Roger Phelps Gypsum Express here this weekend and running just outside of the top 10. In fact, battling now with Jeff Hetzler in the reclamation car.
Hearn on the outside of Allen.
Yeah, here we go.
Well, he can't do it, can't make it stick.
No, but he's testing the water up there, and he's got Allen thinking about it now. He knows what his car, Hearn knows what his car will do. And it's obvious if you're going to pass, you're going to have to do it on the outside or have somebody make a mistake. And Alan Johnson doesn't make many mistakes, just as David Camara isn't making any for Alan. And while this is going on, Alan's younger brother Danny is running away and trying to hide. He has opened up about 15 car length advantage and a few lap cars over the second place car. Danny now has opened that advantage up over Tremont, who runs in 2.
In fact, now Horton has just gotten by Tremont down the front straightaway. So Jimmy Horton passes Tremont. He wrestles away the number 2 position. And Horton, who led earlier and got caught up in traffic, will now try to set his sights on the doctor.
Tremont's car may be running out of tires as he went to the outside again.
Traffic, heavy traffic in turn 1. And again, that's Pete Bicknell in there, along with Danny Johnson. And passing Pete Bicknell is a little bit like enduring Chinese water torture.
Well, Pete's sure getting his fair share of TV time here today, whether he's running in the lead, battling for the lead, or simply trying to hold his ground on the racetrack. Oh, he and Danny Johnson make contact here on the front straightaway, and Danny gets crossed up. Pete will open. No, he still won't give up. Pete won't. And That puts Horton in a challenging position.
My, isn't that something?
And over 100 miles an hour, another flat tire for Bicknell. My goodness, that'll be the third flat for him today. This one is in the rear, but flat tire for Pete Bicknell. I thought it was flat, maybe not. Anyway, we've got Jimmy Horton all over Danny Johnson for the lead. They are in lap traffic. Timmy Burnett is the lap car, about to go down to Johnson, and he gets in the way of Horton as they exit turn 2 and race down the back straightaway.
Well, I think it'll be
flat tire on Horton's car now. Left front tire on Jimmy Horton's car is flat.
And there is the flat rear of Pete Bicknell.
I'm sure you'll see when Horton sets the left front down, it's flat. That's the case.
See it right there.
Contact,
runs third.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the hole or contact with the lap car Burnett. And meanwhile, Pete Bicknell is slow here on the front straightaway. He's hoping for a yellow. He will stay on the racetrack and force the yellow. So Bicknell, who's been a factor here all day long, brings out the yellow on lap number, where are we, 110?
So now what do you do if you are Jimmy Horton? You change one tire, or do you change more than one?
You can only change one because he can't get both ends of the car up without losing a lap. So I think they'll change the front tire and just forget about it. Of course, they'd like to change rears at this point as long as they're going to be on pit road, but I doubt very much that'll happen. It's lap number 120.
So 120 of our 150 lap race. Just 30 laps to go, and Jimmy Horton out on the track continues to run second behind Danny Johnson, but Horton has a front down.
So he'll be coming to pit road to the attention of his crew here in just another lap. I suspect Jeff Hensler's on pit road. They're putting a left front tire on the reclamation car. Didn't see that one go down. It's a rear tire for Bicknell. We saw that problem develop here on the front straightaway.
Well, let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small, who's in the pits.
Well, you would think there would be a hive of activity down here in the Horton pit right now, moving the jack up and moving a tire out to change, and exactly the opposite is going on. This crew is standing here as if they're not even concerned. They are not going to bring Jimmy Horton in, I think, under this caution. There's no activity to go get a tire. Now remember, Gary mentioned earlier in the broadcast that if you're going to have a tire go down in the race car, the left front is the one you will want to have go down because it takes really the least amount of abuse and does the least amount of work of any tire on the race car. Still, when you're running in second with 3 wheels and you got a guy like Danny Johnson in front of you, and a guy like Kenny Tremont behind you, it's a sticky situation no matter how you slice it.
How long can he continue to run in this manner?
Well, he would hope that we'd go back to green in a hurry because the car works, as we've said now. If he gets it up to speed and gets that left front wheel off the ground, that'll work the best for him. But I really don't understand that move on the part of Jimmy Horton and his crew. But he's a professional. He obviously knows what's going to work best for him.
Well, we're down to 28 laps remaining, and he's got to endure a lot of racing with that flat front left.
We've got the Johnson brothers running in the top 5 now. Danny is leader. Allen has moved to the number 5 spot with the Maroney Transaction Group car.
We're back to green, and we'll chart the progress or regression of Jimmy Horton as down the front straightaway into turn 1 they go.
Absolutely do not understand this. We'll see if Tremont can make the pass. He'll work on Horton in turn number 3.
Well, Horton, I'm sure, will try to hug the low groove and try to keep as many positions as he possibly can. If he came in to change that tire, he'd go all the way back to the pack and have very little opportunity to place.
But there are nearly 30 laps left. It's a long, long time to hold on out front.
So Horton is trying to hold off Kenny Tremont in the 21. And of course, meanwhile, Danny Johnson continues to lengthen his lead with 25 laps to go. And remember, Danny was involved in some heavy contact just a few short laps ago. He nearly spun out, was able to gather himself back up, continue in the race lead, but you wonder if there's any damage to his machine.
Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky. I think Danny was lucky in that case. He's our leader. Horton runs in second, albeit with only 3 inflated tires. Tremont runs in 3. Hoffman is 4. Alan Johnson is 5. Then we have the 26 of Dave Camara running in the number 6 spot. Brett Hearn runs in 7. Patty O'Brien is 8. Jerry Higbee Jr. is 9. And Timmy Fuller rounds out the top 10 with 25 laps to go.
And we will continue with our coverage of the Eastern States CarQuest 150. We are live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
18 laps remaining in our CarQuest 150. There is the leader, the FX1 of Danny Johnson, back in traffic. Second place, Kenny Tremont. Third place continues to be Jimmy Horton, despite a left front.
It's flat, but he's holding on, nevertheless making that car as wide as he possibly can. There you see the fourth place car, Hoffman in the right yellow number 5, Alan Johnson in the red number 14, Jay running in the number 5 spot. There's a battle for lead right there. Tremont on the inside of Danny Johnson.
Kenny Tremont has the lead going into turn 1. Danny Johnson goes back on the outside. Lap traffic right in front, and again it's Tremont who takes the lead as Danny Johnson slows out at 2.
I was about to say, as I was watching during the commercial, Danny bouncing that car through the hole in turn number 1, that this would be a real test for the tires and the car, and something apparently has failed on Danny Johnson's car. He'll run second now to Kenny Tremont, the defending champion of this race, who's won it on 2 prior occasions.
That was 93 and 97. Let's go down for an update. Cowboy Paul Small.
We're down in the FS Converter Team Spin area. Has Danny said anything about what's wrong with the race car?
We tore our right front brake line off early in the race. We've been just trying to hang on. I don't know if there's anything else wrong or not.
Do you think he can get back by Kenny if they get in traffic?
If we get into traffic, maybe. He's real good in traffic. That's what we're kind of hoping for.
So Danny Johnson's crew is still optimistic, even though they're now running in second.
And Tremont, the leader, is back in traffic. However, Danny Johnson is about 7 car lengths in back.
So traffic won't be a factor for the lead, at least not for the moment, as Mike Perotti slows in the teal and white car number 35. He goes a lap down to Danny.
Tremont into turn 3. You see lap traffic there, and there's been a lot of contact between lap traffic and the leaders, an exorbitant amount of that. However, Tremont gets by cleanly there, and he has got a pretty good lead on Danny Johnson, about 7 or 8 car lengths.
But the next car that Tremont has to negotiate is that of Pete Bignell. We'll watch Bignell all day long be a factor here. He is very, very tough. He doesn't want to give up any track position, so he could be a factor, as we've got a car slowing in turn 4. Bobby Hayes Jr. will slow in turn number 4 and bring out the yellow flag with less than 20 laps to go.
Well, in fact, 10 laps to go when they come around to get the yellow. So we will have 10 laps or less for a shootout among the leader, Kenny Tremont, and Danny Johnson in second place in the FX1. And of course, third and fourth will bunch up as well.
A 10-lap shootout here for the win in the 23rd annual CarQuest 150 for small block modifieds.
And if you think that we've had contact on restarts in the past today, watch this one. Tremont, Danny Johnson, Jimmy Horton, who is praying for green, not yellow, because he's got a flat left front tire, as you see right there. When he's running at speed, that comes off the track just a bit. Right now it's taking a beating. Doug Hoffman then is in 4th, 5th Alan Johnson, 6th Dave Camara, 7th Brett Hearn.
Wounded warriors. We've got a brake line, and I think something else wrong with Danny Johnson's car. 3 inflated tires on Horton's car, and as far as we know, everything is a-okay for Kenny Tremont as he drives the Dennis Tremont-owned TO Pro car at the head of the class here in the final stages of the CarQuest 150.
And here comes the head of the class. The green is back out. Tremont way down low. Danny Johnson trying to get physical. Jimmy Horton a distant 3rd. Then Alan Johnson is 4th. Dave Camara 5th place. Hoffman, then Hearn.
So Alan has picked up a couple of spots here in the exchange. Danny running without brakes won't make any difference now. He's got a clean racetrack in front of him. The only guy in front of him is the race leader, Kenny Tremont. There's Hearn. As he and Hoffman continue to slug it out. Not far behind is the 6 of Patty O'Brien.
So actually, Camara and Hearn battling for position down the racetrack. We have another yellow. A spin in turn 1.
Lee Nimitz is around in car number 40 between turns 1 and 2, and that'll bring out yet another yellow. Working lap number 144 under caution.
So Tremont first, Danny Johnson second, Jimmy Horton third, and you see clearly now why Jimmy Horton did not come into the pits. He's hanging on to a very sound position. Alan Johnson is fourth, fifth Camara, sixth Hearn. Hearn and Camara are battling for second place in the Mr. Dirt points battle. That's unofficial. And unofficially, whoever finishes higher in this race is going to nab second position behind Alan Johnson. There's Tremont, and he's been running hard, and he's been running strong, made the great pass of Danny Johnson, and he is keeping very, very low on the racetrack, trying to make his shoulders as wide as possible. Let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
And I guess the question would be, does Danny try to open up a lane down low, or are we at the stage of the race where he's got to go outside and roll the dice?
Well, that's just it. We got caught up behind the lap car and got slid up off the bottom, and that's where Tremont got us. He said the car's all right. I don't know. There's nothing on the outside, so with 6 laps to go, we're not going to hit lap traffic. I don't know. We got our fingers crossed for something to happen.
He just took the words right out of my mouth, guys.
That's right. There's Danny.
I think he was hoping for something good to happen.
Here's the restart. There's the bump in turn 3. Now turn 4 down the front straightaway. Green flag is out, and we have 5 laps remaining. 5 laps to go in the Eastern States. CarQuest 150. Danny Johnson tries down low, can't get it on Tremont. Down the back straightaway they fly.
It's a horsepower battle now. Brakes, they don't need them all that much, and they're going to try to stay on the bottom, I guess, but Danny's now falling back, so it's not going to work for Danny. He's going to have to protect second, I think, before this thing comes to the checkered flag. We've got 4 laps to go.
One slip up, and the door would be open for the doctor.
And we've got a slip up in the form of a yellow flag. We've got caution on the speedway. Pierre Dagenet is stalled in turn number 4 and brings out yet another yellow. And now, Doug, will come to this racing won't finish under caution situation that the Dirt Motorsports organization enforces. The final 3 laps under green will complete lap number 147 right now under yellow.
Another car with at least 1 flat, looks like 2 flats.
That's Hindley in the M&R Quickway car. Tim Hindley behind pit wall. There's the guy that brought out the yellow. Pierre Dagenet from Quebec in car number 124, having a great run, but looks like he lost an engine.
All right, let's get an update now on what you see for the end of this race from Cowboy Paul Small.
Does anybody remember Syracuse a couple of weeks ago in the Eckerd 300 itself, when the race actually ran past the advertised distance of 188 laps because there was that yellow? Remember how close some guys were on fuel? Remember some guys ran out of fuel coming across the line? We're getting awful close to the same situation happening here again. Could we have a little deja vu, perhaps?
Deja vu all over again, Cowboy.
Very likely.
That boy's got a memory.
And yes, we did remember that. It's only been 2 weeks, but it does create a very interesting situation, because we were talking about how these drivers just got their splash and goes earlier. And so Tremont in the 21, as a matter of fact, he was one of the drivers that ran out of fuel at Syracuse down the stretch of that race. So Tremont in the 21, Danny Johnson second, Jimmy Horton third. Horton does not appear to be a contender for the lead unless there's a slip up between the first 2.
Alan Johnson runs in 4. David Camara is 5. Brett Hurd runs in 6. Doug Hoffman is 7. Patty O'Brien is 8. Higbee is 9. That's Jerry Higbee Jr. And rounding out the top 10 is the number 99 of Timmy Fuller.
And we should be going green, white, then checkers. McKee in the pits, struggling.
He almost beat it up, but they didn't quite make McKee, so he'll lose a lap on pit road. We'll go green on lap number 150. I think you just said that, Doug, but I'm watching this lap counter now and just realized the same thing. So we'll go 153 in this one if we don't get another yellow.
Extended time.
Something that Hoffman would like, but what I was about to say, that Jimmy Horton just doesn't get this thing over with. He's been nursing that 3-tired vehicle here. We questioned that call. Obviously, it was the right call. Danny is there knocking on the door. Green flag is out. We are underway.
All right, Kenny Tremont down the front straightaway. The green flag is out. The doctor gave him a little bump. He's going to try a little bit high. Has to protect his position. Now digs down low. Tremont holds him off in turn 2.
Danny may have found something there. Go in high and dive low. It almost worked. He got a great head of steam going off into turn number 1. Went up high, then dove to the bottom, almost making contact. White flag is in the air. We have 1 to go.
Kenny Tremont down the front straightaway extends his lead to about 4 car lengths on the doctor, who tries up high, then digs down low once again, gains some yardage. It once again looks like Kenny Tremont very, very deliberate in the turns, protecting that low groove.
The 36-year-old father of 4, Kenny Tremont, comes out of turn 4.
Running strong. Danny Johnson tries one more time, can't do it. Kenny Tremont is the winner of the CarQuest 150. Second place goes to Danny Johnson. Jimmy Horton is third. Fourth, Alan Johnson, Dave Camara, and Brett Hearn.
So Tremont, who came up 1 position short in the Prolong 200 a couple of weeks ago at Syracuse when he was passed in the final stages by Pete McNell, picks up his 2nd in a row and 3rd career CarQuest 150 win here at the Orange County Fair Speedway.
152 laps in all around this track at Orange County, and Kenny Tremont is the winner of the CarQuest 150. We'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to our race winner after this timeout. We are live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
I spend all year cleaning the track, day after day, making this surface race ready. And why, you may ask? Decker's exit, turn 4, no marbles. McCready's line, flat right rear, lose a lap, done. Ah, the innocent hot dog wrapper. This baby gets stuck in the grill. It cooks the motor in 3 laps. Ask Hearn. It's the last race. Somebody's got to win. Then it's over.
CarQuest 150, his 3rd win here, 93, 97, and 98. So it's back-to-back victories for Kenny Tremont. Let's go down to Victory Lane and Cowboy Paul Small.
Kenny, congratulations. I'd say probably the experience certainly paid off on a day like this.
We really had a great day. I can't say enough for Jago Mutter, who takes care of the car, and my cousin Dennis, who owns the car, and CarQuest Auto Parts for sponsoring the race. They've been with DIRT organization for quite a while, and they're doing a good job, and just everything went well. I mean, we ran 2nd and 3rd all day, and just the opportunity came when Danny just touched that inside guardrail, and we were able to duck underneath him, but it was definitely close. You know, Horton really ran well, and it could have been any one of us that could have won it today.
Winning this race today, does that take the sting out of the Prolong 200 for you?
Well, not really. That's for sure. I mean, every race that you have trouble, I mean, it seems like you can never get it back. But, you know, running good today certainly helps your spirits, that's for sure. And hopefully we can parlay this into a little better luck for tomorrow.
Everybody was playing bump and run on the bottom. Tell me about getting around Danny.
Well, you know, the lap cars were on the bottom where they're supposed to be. It was just a tough situation. And, you know, you'd run up on a lap car and you'd have to more or less wait for them to slide up. And that they didn't, and you were coming up on them pretty fast, so sometimes you'd run into them a little bit. But Danny, I think, ended up clipping that inner guardrail coming out the 4th corner, and he shot across the track, and you know, we were lucky enough to be able to get underneath him at the time.
This wraps up for what for you has been a fantastic year. Another track championship, 11 in Valley, ton of race wins. Couldn't think of a better way to wrap it up.
No, that's for sure. I had a real great year, and got a lot of good people behind me, and hopefully next year will be just as good or maybe a little bit better.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Kenny Tremont, your winner of the CarQuest 150 here at Orange County, guys.
There's one more that he'd like to get, of course, and that's tomorrow's win, the big block modifieds here in the Eastern States 200.
And you best believe that he will be very much a factor in that race. And we see Kenny Tremont celebrating his victory here in the CarQuest 150. Our coverage of Eastern States Weekend will continue. We are live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
What do you have planned for November 7th? Well, why don't you check out the VIP fan package for the annual Dirt Awards Banquet 98 at Bonnie Castle Resort in beautiful Alexandria Bay, New York. $195 package includes 2 banquet tickets, dinner for 2, hotel accommodations, and a gift basket. Here's the number, area code 315-834-6606. One of the real highlights of the racing season, the annual awards banquet 98. Well, the winner of our race, Kenny Tremont, takes home the checkered flag in the CarQuest 150. And meanwhile, we'll see who the winner is in our internet question. Since this race was added to the Eastern States Weekend in 1977, which driver has won the most CarQuest 150 championships? And the answer is...
Brett Hearn was 6, and we told you that at the top of the show. So, Mark Lighthall, we congratulate you on listening to us and getting the right answer.
Out of Gardner, Massachusetts, Mark Lighthall, heartiest congratulations. You've got a little something special coming your way. Coming the way of Alan Johnson is a points championship for 1998, and he's standing by right now with Cowboy Paul Small.
Well, Alan, a 4th place finisher here this afternoon. Now, the guys in front of you are low on fuel. One's got a flat tire, one's got a busted brake line, but you brought this car home clean in one piece.
Yeah, the car's good. You know, stayed out of trouble most of the race. The sun was tough. I got my eyes one time. I hit the guardrail. I thought I was going to get a left front flat, but it stayed up, and, you know, the car's in great shape.
So you're pleased with the way this wraps up your 358 season. You knew you had the title the minute you fired the race car. You still come home with the top 5.
Yeah, you know, we had a real bad qualifying. It started way in the back, and on a track like this, 4th place that's like a win, really. It was just tough. All you could do was stay low and hope for somebody to slip up. And you know, other than that, the car was real good. If we could have been out front, I think we could have stayed out front. But you know, just with the bad start spot, it just made it tough.
Seems like whenever you're down here, you're always having to overcome incredible odds to try to get to victory lane.
Seems that way, doesn't it? You know, I don't know. Sometimes it was funny today because we went out and one set of hot laps, ran real good, and then we didn't change anything, went out and didn't run so good. And then we went back out again and we ran good. So yeah, I really don't know what it is. It's the tires or what it is, but you know, we had a bad qualifying run, changed the car a little bit, and it was great for the feature.
And then of course you're going to come back tomorrow and try to win the big block one.
Yeah, you know, that car's running real good, and we got a legitimate shot at winning that race tomorrow, and you know, we'll just try to keep our nose clean for 200 laps and be there at the end.
Alan Johnson's Mitsubishi team has been the talk of the pit area this weekend. A lot of guys think this guy has an inside track to victory lane for tomorrow's big block show.
Gary, you start 26, you finish 4th. That's actually the drive of the day in many ways.
I think so. He probably passed more cars than anybody else. So as Alan said, to start that far back and finish 4th, a great day.
There's the guy who saw the checkered flag first, Kenny Tremont, his 3rd victory in the CarQuest 150. Our coverage will continue from Orange County Fair Speedway after these messages, live on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
I spend all year cleaning the track, day after day, making this surface race ready. And why, you may ask? Decker's exit, turn 4, no marbles. McCready's line, flat right rear, lose a lap, done. Ah, the innocent hot dog wrapper. This baby gets stuck in the grill. It cooks the motor in 3 laps. Ask Hearn. It's the last race. Somebody's got to win. Then it's over.
Eastern States weekend continues tomorrow. Our coverage on Rush Hour at 1:30. It's the CarQuest 200 for the big block modifieds as we wave the checkered flag officially on the 1998 racing season on dirt. Finishing in third place in the M1. What a ride he had. Jimmy Horton, and he's standing by with Cowboy Paul Small.
Jimmy, a third place finish, but I think this was probably one of your tougher days at the office.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, we had a car to win the race and just had some trouble with lap cars, and then we got back to second and got back to the leader, and I misjudged the corner. You know, I tried to pin him in lap traffic like I got pinned, and didn't work out, and I messed up and hit the inside wall and blew the left front, and then we had to run the last, I think it was 30 or 40 laps with a flat left front, and we ended up third, so it's a good finish for the B&F team.
Was it how much of a calculated gamble is it to run on 3 tires like that?
It's not bad if the track was super smooth. You know, it was smooth today, but there was just one hole getting into one, and it would just upset the car big time. You had to go in there so slow and hope the guy behind you wouldn't run you over. So, you know, it's a good finish to be hung on.
Jimmy Horton's got a third today. You can better believe when he comes back tomorrow, he's going to want to be 2 spots further up in the running order.
And I wouldn't bet against him.
You certainly can, and he's, again, struggling to record his first win of 1998. It maybe can happen tomorrow.
Look who's standing by right there.
Yeah, guy who won at Syracuse just 2 weeks ago, the Bug Chaser, and Billy Decker.
And had the racing season of his career in that Bug Chaser number 91 with 3 track championships to go along with the win at Syracuse. Well, here's the lineup for tomorrow's CarQuest 200, which you can see live right here on Rush Hour. On the pole, Chuck McKee.
That's not necessarily a surprise. McKee's the track champion here, but the big surprise is Todd Stone, the young driver out of Middlebury, Vermont, recording second quick time. He'll start second.
Alan Johnson third, Billy Decker fourth, Jimmy Horton and Gary Tompkins the top 6.
Brett Hearn starts back in the number 7 spot. Pat Ward, who was so sensational at Syracuse, will start from the number 8 spot. And the story of the weekend, perhaps, the enduro racer Earl Paulus, who started 6th here today. He'll start 9th tomorrow. Bud Chrisman, who had such a great run, finished 3rd, I believe, at Syracuse a couple of weeks ago. The Briowski car starts in the number 10 spot. Joe Winnie, an Orange County Fair regular, starts in the number 11 spot, and David Camara does double duty this weekend. He'll round out the top 12 for tomorrow's CarQuest 200.
Got about 10 seconds. What can we expect to see here at Orange County Fair Speedway?
More of the same. I'm sure they'll fix the hole or try to fix the hole, and some great racing. They'll get a lot of people to watch it.
Thanks for help in the booth, John Snyder and Jim Hillier. For Gary Montgomery, Paul Small, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew, Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us, and so long for now. We'll see you tomorrow on Rush Hour Live. Rush Hour on Dirt is Glenn Donnelly. Rush Hour is a production of DIRT Motorsports and a presentation of the DIRT Motorsports Television Network.